So, yesterday I mentioned a few structures of the traditional way of Dharma. So, another structure way is, if I mentioned, like more the fundamental Buddhism, Theravada way of structure, we say Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. So, is everything included there? So that means last night we talk about knowledge and awareness. So this another way you look at is we try to learn and the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so but we didn't go that structure, but the meaning is that. So that we not completely finish. So a few sentences and a few reflections connecting we need the next subject. So yes, today our main topic is learn knowledge or educating oneself. To make custom or get used to reflect more different aspects of the life rather than follow everybody, follow the samsaric culture. In particularly, we follow our culture, the races of the culture, the racism of the culture, or just family culture, even narrow down. That is not the way how to live. We try to go beyond culture and customs. That is the more intelligent way of living. So then, when we have enough knowledge, then we will able to stabilize that knowledge, which means we are building a great awareness. The great awareness accompanied by mindfulness and vigilance. That means these three is not totally different. an aspect of awareness, a different aspects of one nature. And of course, you can be mindful and aware a small scope or big scope. If the small scope, if we focus on small scope, then usually the New Ages say, you know, you just be in the present, and living in the present. Don't think about the past and the future. There is a big aspect that the New Age is right. Why? Because if we analyze how we live, most of time we live in either past or future. We don't live in present. So that means another way of saying, we always are distracting something else rather than we fully concentrate what is you doing now. So if we can see the color and shape of our mind or the activities of our mind, then incredible fast and unsettable. Just like when incredible fast whales training so fast, so we cannot see the rare and the shape color, rare color and shape. Instead, we see something different, illusion. So our mind is kind of that fast. And what do you call? Discursive. That is the reason we often mistakes. We often don't see the reality. Mistake means we don't understand the reality. We don't see the reality. Therefore, it is a big training you not discuss it anywhere and just focus on your breathing. Sounds like silly, but there is a big reason. Take an example that whenever you are stressed or you are frustrated, at that time, start with a big breathing in and out few times, and then single pointedly focus on your breathing in, breathing out. You will experience there is make very big difference. Even that moment, without cultivating any huge cause and conditions before. So that is indication if we have a big awareness for the profound subject, then you have the ability to eliminate all your weakness, and you can build all your strength. So this is only indication, okay? So therefore, this knowledge based on common sense, but you extending the common sense more vast and more deeper. We talked last night, not contradicting the common sense, but more extended. And then not just once and do it and then leave them and forget about, but constantly aware of that, building awareness, accompanied by mindfulness and vigilance. Okay, this time I'm talking about the big knowledge. I'm not talking about the just breathing in, breathing out. So that means we need a great awareness and mindfulness, vigilant with this knowledge to stabilize this knowledge, to always aware and be mindful. Okay, so I tell you what is the differences. Just stabilizing the concept single pointedness without many knowledge, or you do with knowledge. You do instead the same thing, same meditation, but with a big knowledge. Both is very good, but compare and then based on that knowledge, is trillion times better. So that knowledge is, if we go a few sentences to preview from the yesterday. First, we can understand the cause and effect more deeper level based on the common sense. Or at least you believe it if you have the no capacity to really understand. That is one. Why is it important? Because then you always be able to focus on right cause and conditions for your future well-being. And you are be mindful of cultivating the wrong negative cause and conditions. So your future will be brighter and brighter. The second, you are not fully attracted of the normal values, such as the comfort, social state. Yeah, these normal things. Just like Buddha's father and Buddha, what is the difference? Buddha's father, he wants his greatest wish, his son become a great king and great ruler. For Buddha, that is foolish. That is meaningless. Why? Because Buddha can see much longer than before become a Buddha. See much vast and more profound. So Buddha's father only see limit. Just the same thing. What does help that? Seeing the normal values, you don't see really fully valued. You can see at degrees, but not full, the ultimate value. Because then you have freedom from that. Because for you, these things, if you there, it's okay, but you don't have to have. You have some choices in your mind. That's we call freedom. You are free from that. But no, most people not free from that. Because your values is much bigger. So that's why. This one you can call renunciation. But if we think in renunciation is only abandoning something, then we only see something negative side, negative aspect. If we see something given up, that's even worse. Okay? Then pursuit human birth means encouragement, real encouragement, and building our confidence, and know very well how to take opportunity. Understanding impermanence, not just the death, but also the time of death, but also everything is understanding impermanent, is not cause and condition of depression and despondent. One aspect, if we look at, it is very helpful when things change it. You don't want to change it, but it will change. So you prepared. So you have less suffering. When you don't want things changes happened. Another way of aspect is you appreciate more than anybody else to not understanding impermanent every moment. Everything you have in your life. If you can understand even deeper, then you understand the Kalachakra, which means the will. If we think everything is like a rope, there's some beginning, then some end, then is some excitement there, but maybe definitely there is a despondent and fear, because now I'm coming to the end. Everything there is an end. So that's why you're scared. Of course, you despondent and you worry because coming to the end. But if you have a little understanding Kalachakra, then is no longer is like a rope. It is like a whale. That means there is no end. Everything is forming and reforming. Only forming and reforming. Or another way you can say structuring and restructuring. There is no separation. Only appearance of separation. But in reality, there's no separation. Like will. The will, we can say, oh, this part, this part. You can say like that, but there is no real different paths. They're all same. There is no beginning, there is no end. There is no top and there is no bottom. There is no right or left, nothing, unless you just labor on. That means appears something, ending is reality of the new beginning. So this is a little bit deeper. But even we understand, accepting everything is a change, even that level is really, really helpful. Why? Because the positive experiences you can appreciate more, and the negative experiences you accept in more. You are able to more accept. Accepting more means reduce the problem, the suffering. The suffering also is illusion equally. So that means you understanding means, understanding and permanent means not fully, but you understanding is illusion. I say again, understanding and permanent is under some degree of understanding of the illusion. Okay. So when you understand how many realms and beings and what kind of different karmic cause and conditions, when you learn those things, this all is stated in my first book. That means you have a better understanding. So better understanding means you have a better capacity. So that's why the knowledge is important, and the stabilize knowledge through the awareness, mindfulness, and vigilance. That means you build in a lot of strength within yourself, and nobody can take away. That's why it's far better than wealth and relationships, social status, everything. So we can say developing the qualities. The qualities, how many numbers of quality? There is many different structures and different numbers. But don't worry, all of them are different way of describing, but all of them is the same. if we understand a few, that's included everything, all these different numbers, different texts, this graph. Again, the based on common sense. In the common sense, person have a patience or no patience, tolerant, have tolerate very well or cannot tolerate. The same thing. The person is very easy jealous, envy, or no jealous. The person who can control the anger, or you cannot control the anger. The person is very greedy or generous. This all is just common sense. You don't have to believe a religion. It's all common sense. These, qualities is the strength of the people can cultivate and develop. But how to develop? Because that knowledge and awareness, mindfulness, and vigilance. Again, and a common sense is arrogant person or very humility, how to say, humility, yeah, humble. Which one people like? What people accept? Which quality people admire? So same thing. If you have the knowledge of what we talk last night and today, the details we didn't talk, you have to go on a book. And then you can cultivate those and eliminating the weakness. But if you don't have that knowledge and awareness, mindfulness, then even you know in the background in your mind, those is good quality, but you cannot bring within yourself. So that's what I'm saying. This knowledge and awareness, those is absolutely necessary. So weaving knowledge and the awareness, mindfulness, these things, we always weep, we have to weep. talk all the time, all this, because they all help each other, not by self. If we say, oh, selfish person, or a very good, compassionate person, which one people admire? If you want to work, if you have to work with somebody, is there anybody would like to work with a selfish person or a kind, compassionate person? It's all common sense. Or if it's all common sense, then what do we need to do? We don't need to learn anything? Yes, we need to learn. Again, I said the same thing. We have to, based on common sense, we have to understand more vast and more profound and more details. Okay? So let's begin. It's important to have pride or humility. It's not black and white, because usually people talk like black and white. Again, you need some balance. You don't have to have zero pride. If you too humble, zero pride, then becomes a weakness. Just think about some ingredients from the food or medicine. When combined together is your medicine ingredient. But you have only this, eat all the time, then becomes poison. Same thing. The humility, humbleness is medicine, is general speaking, is strength. But unbalanced, went to extreme, then becomes weakness. So that's why you need some pride. We can call this pride, we can change the name. We can say confidence. Confidence and pride, you can make very different or same, depend at the degrees. Your pride is so big, much bigger than your own quality, your own strength, or you can say your confidence is much bigger than your strength. Then is pride, become a pride, something is become negative. But your pride is much less than your strength. Then you cannot use your strength, your capacity. So your quality and your pride is matched. That is confidence, balanced, absolutely needed, and becomes your strength. So that kind of humbleness is useless. But in general, usually we say humility, humbleness is a good quality, because often people have these ones less than their strength. That means they have more pride and sometimes arrogant, more than their own quality. Not matching. That's the problem. So these tones, we just need balance. Our jealous, is jealous good? In general, very bad. Why? Because make yourself suffer. Don't make anything, don't defeat any of your enemy or whoever you are jealous in. And instead hurt yourself, not hurt the you want to hurt. However, not the 100% of the time. If you know how to use the jealousy, this could help you build in your strength, make you yourself more diligent. That means you're jealous, you're not using, hurting yourself too much, not the fear, pity yourself too much. Instead, you turn the back and using for antidote of your laziness or lack of confidence. You build in some confidence. Just like alcohol, in general, very bad, but sometimes good. So jealous is like that. So you need this knowledge. This, if you don't know this knowledge, you cannot build that strength. Because you don't know how to balance. If we say the modern knowledge, chemist, or we say the traditional knowledge, medicine, or about, you know how to balance. Sometimes traditionally, we say, oh, you cannot have anger, you cannot have jealous, you cannot have this. And then people cannot get rid of them, but you just pretend you don't have those. And then in reality, you increase those. Inside, increase. Your desire, your attachment, your jealousy, or just increase. Why? Because you try to abandon without knowing the reality. And you are just live a fake life. Pretending, oh, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a vegetarian, because I not harm any sentient beings. But then you very easily angry, very easily jealous, hurt yourself, but pretend you are not. This is not the way. Way is how you use very well your already existence, how you balance very well. This is, I would say, Kalachakra way, the path of Kalachakra, Kalachakra Tantra. But usually people think, oh, Tantra is something secret. You cannot see it, you cannot show pictures, you cannot show text. Why? When we say why, no explanation. Just say, oh, not. If you have a big explanation, you say, oh, such and such text said, or such and such Lama said. That's it. No more. If you ask the Lama why, then the Lama could be get angry because you don't have answer. Or say something, blah, blah, blah. But we need rare answer. Logical, understandable, based on common sense. So, I think the root of our All weakness is self-centeredness, is self-focus. When I say self-focus, I'm not saying you cannot take care of yourself. You can take care of yourself very well for all sentient beings, benefit all sentient beings. You know, you can do that. You can motivate of that. So that is not necessarily, you taking care of yourself is not necessarily a selfishness. But selfishness means you think you taking care very well yourself. Others you don't care. But you end up not taking care of yourself at all. Appears you taking care of yourself very well, but the reality not. So the similar of the other day we said, scientific knowledge, through the scientific knowledge, we know that color and shape, everything is only appearance, not reality. Similarly, if you self-centered too much, then looks like you doing so well, appearance you doing so well. But the reality, you're not doing so well at all. So we have to understand this. How? Let's say you always self-focused. So you are very diligent, hard work. You are quite intelligent to do this. So you have great reputation, social status, wealth, many connections. So you think you have a great relationship. But the reality, nobody love you. Nobody trusts you. In a deeper level, of course, superficial level, there are many people trust you because you do well. Business, many things you do well. So they trust you on that level. But they not trust you the most deeper level. Why? Because everybody know you are selfish and you are opportunistic. So that's why nobody believe you nobody trusts you, and nobody loves you in the most deeper level. One day you realize that, but very late. And that time, you feel you waste your life. All this effort, all this accomplishment, you feel meaningless, but can't do anything. It's too late. That means you are lost in the appearances. You are clever, intelligent enough to cultivate incredible good appearances, but wasn't enough intelligent, seeing the more and feeling the most deeper values, the deeper quality. So you only realizing now. Maybe it's 100% too late, maybe it's 99 only too late, so it's okay, a little chance there. So similarly, what kind of degrees of kindness, thoughtfulness you have with your family, with your colleagues, with your, whoever you have time, spend the time and work, whatever you do, activities. Whatever degree of the selfishness and whatever degree of the thoughtfulness and kindness, love, is the real meaning of the life. Which means you can experience the consequence rare path within. And then the other process, other values is like appearance, not the real can experience. So therefore, if we learn how we build in love and compassion in our heart, then is you build everything, basically. You don't need to go through the all many lists of good qualities. When you have these two, quite high degrees, then earth, water finally go through the ocean. similar. All good qualities, all strengths. And buried inside this love and compassion. So you may think, no, I don't want too much love in my heart because it will going to break my heart. I don't want to have too much compassion because it's so sad. The whole world is suffering. I can't take it. You may think that. These two cannot be the quality of everything. Strength, tolerant, generous. Inspiration cannot be everything. So that means you didn't understood what is the really love and what is the compassion. That means what did you understood is a small degree of love and compassion, unbalanced. With this selfishness, possessiveness, basically, you didn't understood the most important quality of the love and compassion. You understood only the biological love, which means all sentient beings naturally have some degree. You only understood that level, not something we can improve. Real strength, source of all strength. This one you didn't understood. Okay, so the term is ready. So maybe you have some questions, or maybe I live here and you think about what is real love and compassion, the source of all strength. You contemplate that, and then maybe we talk next time.
Okay.
Is okay that?
Oh, yeah. Did you want to do some questions?
Yes, okay.
If you have some questions, we already do have a few, but if you have some questions for Rinpoche, could you add your questions to the Q&A area inside of the Zoom or onto the comments in Facebook? If you are part of our Mandarin group, you can add them in WeChat and I will get them. So, and your questions can be on this talk or any of the recent talks if there's something that has created a confusion or you need clarity on. So there's a question, Rinpoche, about what's the difference between innate Kalachakra and the Dzogchen view? Are they both considered Zhentong? Are they just different lineages?
Dzogchen view and inner Kalachakra. Okay, Dzogchen view is view. View is how do you say? View by a people's perspective, right? And Net Kalachakra is a deity, is non-human, enlightened form. So that's very different. But I think maybe you mean the question is the practice Kalachakra in that Kalachakra practice point of view and Dzogchen point of view. What is the differences? Kalachakra is a deity. Huh? Yes. So in that Kalachakra is a deity, yes, enlightened form. So whatever you call deity or whatever. So it basically enlightened form is Buddha form, but not Buddha Shakyamuni form. Is Sambhogakaya form, which means enjoyment body, which means higher than Buddha Shakyamuni, because Buddha Shakyamuni is something humans we can perceive, and in Kalachakra and humans in common as a human form is cannot perceive. So very different.
Rinpoche, so the person just clarified their question now. They're wondering what's the difference in a practice if you practice innate Kalachakra versus a Dzogchen?
Okay, depend how present the Dzogchen, the person who presented the Dzogchen, depend how they present, okay? But I think the difference is in Kalachakra path, you have various steps to go, and more emphasis. The actual practice is more emphasize your body postures, and you working with your channels, chakras, and basically your body, mind, all types of the substance in your body. You working all of them together. So Dzogchen has two parts. The first part one, they don't work on that. The final one, they work a little bit of that, but very little. So yeah, it's quite different. The simple answer is working with body, mind all together very much the Kalachakra path, and the Dzogchen is you working only on the mind, I think, mostly. That's a very simple answer.
Yes, it's a complicated question. There are two questions related to purification. So the first question is just wondering, they're both related to this idea of trying to purify bad thoughts or bad ideas. So one person's wondering, how do they purify their bad idea when it appears in their own mind? And the other person is wondering if they forgive somebody else for their bad ideas, if it will sort of wash them away and purify it.
You mean the first one is like how can we give up, how can we purify, we have bad thoughts, but then you realize it's bad thoughts, so then how you purify them. And
Yeah.
the second one, other people's bad thoughts, how can we purify them? What do you mean?
The second one is, okay, can we help purify other people's bad things by forgiving them?
Forgiven.
Yes.
You forgiven somebody is purify yourself, not the other. In general, you do others. It's not easy because you only can make cause and condition for them, but they have to have that awareness and intention. But yourself is 100% is up to you. Whatever you want is up to you. So that's why, of course, you can purify your previous thoughts, replacement of good thoughts, you know, great awareness, and then you establishing the great awareness and then mindfulness, vigilant. If you continue to do this, they just spontaneously purifies.
So the first question was just wondering, how do we deal with bad thoughts in our own mind? How do we purify that?
Okay, that's you have to do the knowledge, learn the knowledge, why it's bad and everything. And then I said you learn the already knowledge, and then you stabilize this knowledge with mindfulness. Then you not even let the bad thought come, because firstly you have knowledge, you know how bad, you know that, and secondly, you have automatic reaction, not let them come. For instance, if the poison tends, we know already tends, we don't eat anything you see. We have automatic, like a reaction body. Somebody hit you, you automatic reaction, and everything we have similar. If you really understand, you have that kind of mind. It's not come, but even is you mistakes once, but then is bad, and you aware and you be mindful of that. So that's why you not let come in again. So it's not worry about you already done. It's not about the worry about you done, but be mindful, you not let that kind of mind come.
So we have another question related to purification. So this person's wondering, okay, if I do 100,000 Vajrasattva mantras, will that completely purify all of our negative karma?
No, depend how you motivate and how much your belief is strong, and you just believe, or you have a realization, or you just believe, or the belief also have degrees of the strong, the quality, and then in many conditions. Some people, maybe you do hundreds of thousands, millions mantras with destruction, and no much really believe or strong feeling. You just do it, whatever reason. You cannot purify much. But if somebody incredible, that very strong commitments, feeling, faith, whatever, confidence, then you don't need even 100,000. We don't know how much you need. 100,000 is just mainstream of the traditional custom.
Okay, so the next few questions relate to bodhicitta. So is the cultivation of love and compassion the same as the cultivation of bodhicitta? And is this
No. Okay. Is this what?
I would finish the thoughts that the next question is different a little bit.
Okay. Okay, it's not, because love and compassion have many degrees. Many degrees. Love means, a simple explanation. Love means you wish one person, you love one person, or million person, or sentient being. You wish they have the best possibility. That is a simple explanation of love. And compassion, a simple explanation. Either your compassion is only one person, or 10, or hundreds of thousands, or sentient beings, or either way, you have the wish to all the problems as eliminate for them. You know, that's your wish. Love and compassion is like that. So if the one person is the smallest, and then, you know, how big. But even all sentient being, you have that still is not bodhicitta. Okay? Bodhicitta is not just a wish. Is like you have this determination of commitment and responsibility you take in your mind. It's not you just have sign up something. If you don't follow this, you get trouble. It's not that, but voluntarily you have this commitment, this responsibility. You have sense of this responsibility you willing to take, not somebody forcing you to take. Very different.
Okay, so this continues with, I think hopefully it's clear that from Rinpoche's answer that the love and compassion is not the same as the ultimate bodhicitta. So I'm taking...
No. Don't call ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta, never call this. Ultimate bodhicitta is a Buddha nature. So don't, but even is relative bodhicitta is not.
Okay, so that was their other question, whether ultimate bodhicitta is the same as the Buddha nature and empty of other.
Yes.
Then the next question is about if relative reality is illusion. This also means that suffering is illusion.
Yes,
So,
of course.
So if suffering is illusory, why is it so important to develop bodhicitta?
Why what?
It's basically saying if suffering is also an illusion, why is it important to develop bodhicitta?
Okay, that's very easy answer, because do you fear suffering? You know, like if somebody torture you, huh? Or even we couldn't find food in a week, you know, or even we have a little bit a hotter, or let's say 50 degrees of hot, if we have to live only one day, or let's say minus 30 degrees of cold, we have to live with little cloth. We have the suffering. Doesn't matter is ultimately is not exist, but is this level is exist. So that's why we have suffering. So bodhicitta wish all this suffering elimination. Why can't have that you know, that wish and that responsible how how do you say, that commitments and the mind. It's not,
So,
they're saying it's not illusion. You have to understand that, yes, if you compare the ultimate, then it's not only illusion, even not exist. But still at the same time, you can understand, because you never mix these levels of truth. If you never mix, then easy you understand. But the problem is we have the habit, and everything is black, white, only two, true or false. Nothing else we cannot figure it in our mind. That's why I'm saying important to understand many levels of truth. That also is common. That also is based on common sense. When we say, "Oh, the beauty is the what do you call? Beholder of the eyes." For one person is one person attractive, but no, the other person is not. That alone, we expel, and there is a different reality, different levels of truth. So that alone shows there is no such thing true. Only which level is the truth? This level of truth, not in this level. This level of truth is not in this level. This level of truth is not in this level. We have to understand this way. But this level of truth is a truth in this same level. Huh? But not next one.
so then to finish this person's question, I think you've clarified it, but just so that you have the chance to clarify it further, can we really save somebody from suffering from samsara, or is that just more illusion?
Depend what level you're talking about. If you're talking about the ultimate level, then is illusion, of course. It's not that illusion, not only that, everything is illusion. But the same level, you save somebody as a real reality. If somebody save you from a killing, is it rare for you? It's the same thing. When we save the all sentient beings, we're talking about in that level. Because that level is absolutely real for themselves. In general, this is not absolute, but for them is absolute. And that time and that level. Okay?
Okay. So Rinpoche, in one of the videos that we shared of you recently, you'd made a video about the meaning of the Kalachakra mantra, which we shared on social media before the empowerment. So you just talked about how it can solve all the problems. So this person's wondering how can we solve all problems with the Kalachakra mantra?
I said we can solve all the problems.
Oh, you said it encompasses everything. So I think this is, I don't think that you specifically said it solves all the problems, but this person.
Yeah, but all questions come from is a black and white mind, right? So I think everybody have to aware what I said from yesterday and today. We have a knowledge at least, or everything is not black and white. Okay, not everything is true and false, and we have to educate ourselves that, and we be aware of this all the time. Whenever we talking, question, answer, statement, making statement all the time. We are aware of this and be mindful for this, be vigilant on this. I think that's we need.
Rinpoche, we have, I think, a further clarification from last night's discussion. So one of the questions that's come in is related to the Buddha and the Buddha's ability to give away his family and his dependence to others. So this person's wondering, if we were to meet that situation, how would we deal with it?
Need this situation?
Yeah, so I think the confusion here is coming from this idea that if you are in the position, I think I'm going to try to help answer this a little bit. If you're in the position where you're motivated to benefit all sentient beings so much, more than just your family, but everyone, and so you work to move beyond that, I think that you're not necessarily suffering in the same way. The idea that you have to deal, they're wondering how could they deal with this? How the idea, yeah. I think there's that idea that they
you know how to deal with this when you are ready for that. The short answer, right?
Yeah, that's the short answer.
If you are not ready, then you don't know how to deal with that. That means you are not ready.
So just to further clarify, there's no requirement that you do that. The Buddha, it's an example in the Buddha's life story.
Yeah, Buddha chooses to do this. Nobody forced him to do this.
Yeah.
Everybody forced him to not do this. And they are suffered a lot where Buddha did that. But then finally they also realized that his wife and the mother and everybody realized that finally they also want to go that path.
Yeah, they all took refuge.
It takes the time. The only matters of the time.
So I hope that clarified the family question enough.
Yeah, should be.
So Rinpoche, this question is about Kalachakra. Has the Kalachakra way and dedicated practice of Kalachakra ever existed in history, in widespread society, or in a full community at any time?
I didn't understand.
They're wondering if there's anywhere in any point in history where everyone in a whole community was practicing Kalachakra, where it was widespread practice.
Yes, and only Shambhala. And we have to start this now. Not on this earth yet. Until now, everybody is like inspired Kalachakra. I don't know, inspired is correct, really correct words or not, but everybody, whoever knows, heard Kalachakra, knows Kalachakra, everybody incredible respect and, kind of like something very important, but majority people didn't know what is, why is important. They didn't know. And so that's why now is the time we have to know how. That's why we need a lot of books and a lot of talk Yes.
Yeah, there's quite a few talks. If you look on Rinpoche's Facebook and YouTube, also probably on his SoundCloud, if you look for any of the talks about Shambhala and Kalachakra, there may be some on this subject. So I'll try to find one and put that on your question after the talk. So for the last question of today, is there a good way to integrate Kalachakra practice and my already existing practices of other deities or other gurus like Guru Rinpoche? How do I manage practicing these together?
Okay, so firstly, people have to understand practice is not only one way, is many ways. So that means for some people, you don't need every single focus. You just one focus is everything, becomes everything. That's one way. The other ways, oh, if I focus all of them, include all of them, it makes sense for you and it's benefits for you, not create difficult for you, then there's nothing wrong to do this. So we just everybody have to remember all is the same, especially the Kalachakra. According to Kalachakra, all is well and interconnected. Time and well, everything. But only appearances are different. So is the most important which capacity you have, and according to your capacity, which one is feel comfortable more. That's it. And no worries.